My name is Ann, just in case you didn't know, and this is Kathy, and this is Mike. And then you've already seen that we had two other chaplains stand up. And there's a clump of us, and we love doing prayer. We love doing meditation. We love being with other people, especially if we can do it alone with other people. And so Sunday morning from 9 to 10, I'm often in the prayer chapel, and that is what starts my week. My week starts with an hour of silent prayer in the prayer chapel. Of course, there is that time when sometimes we do discuss things. And part of what I wanted to say in my talk was that, just like our song today, every thought is a prayer. Every word is a prayer. Every comment is a prayer. And I know for myself that one of the things that I look forward to is when I feel at peace. I can feel at peace easily and effortlessly if I allow myself. And you've heard very good descriptions this morning. This is one of the best things about this church is that everybody that comes here is a powerful being, and we have powerful talks. And so you will have good advice. And again, the thing about advice is only worth what you pay for it. So invest in yourself. And that's what I want to talk to you about prayer. Prayer is an investment. I don't know about you, but this last week or so, along with the lovely weather that we've had, I've had some things that I had to do that involved going to state agencies or into offices where I had the right form but at the wrong time or the wrong person or something. And so I finally, again, thought to myself, why am I not doing devoted prayer before I walk into this office? And so now, if you see me in my car sometimes sitting, it is because there's a part of me that says, before I do anything, before I go anywhere, before I ask anything, before I know anything, I need to deepen myself. I need to allow myself to be calm, cool, and collected. I invest in myself every time I do a prayer. I invest in myself every time I say affirmative words. I work at knowing that there are people that support me, that there are beings that are always available to me, the divine presence. One of my personal experiences is, I don't know how many of you all have ever had to be in a hospital or go to healthcare or that type of thing. All of us, I'm sure, but one time I needed something, and we needed to get a bed and a recovery unit, and there weren't any available. And I was doing my best to find one, and then I called a friend of the family who is very different religious ilk, and I said to her, when you are doing your prayers, please put my family's name on that list. And she said, okay, well, we'll just do prayer right now. And we did prayer right now, and I thought, well, that was powerful. And then I hung up the phone, and the phone rang, and I had a bed. So that helped me realize that if I want to be in this alone, I can do it alone. However, there are angelic beings, there are bodhisattvas, there are lots of people that are here to support me. Another thing that I do is I know that I'm investing in myself when I invest in holding up other people around me. Part of what prayer is for me is that it's also a time when I say, I am so grateful that we have a good board here at Unity. I am so grateful that we have a country that is free. I am so grateful that I can take my cares and take care of them and then allow other people to do what they need to do. Okay? This has gone a little differently than what I had written down for you, but I'm so grateful. I would also encourage any of you that ever want to experience being up here, because I swear that every time I look out here, I see all these little halos, all these little, spirits involving. And so I would ask that you take care of yourself by taking care of yourself, that you allow yourself to listen to some of the advice. I don't know about you, but I think that meditation could help all of us look younger. So again, with prayer, everything starts with prayer. Everything is a prayer. And so every time I drive by and I see the lighted tree, I love feeling all of a sudden that warmth and that knowing and that deepening. And I wish that for all of you. I can hold even though Reverend Ann often reminds us that we get to be involved with some people that don't agree with us, and I'm happy for that lesson. I do love that I can find ways that I just, when I go by that tree, and I often, if you see somebody sitting in a car across the street in that little street alley thing, that could be me. Oh, I was also told a lot of people about it, but so I love sitting there and watching that tree that is perfectly still, but yet it moves, it changes, it evolves. And so I can sit there in the quiet and be with myself and then offer up prayer. And it's an easier way for me then to pray for that person that irritated me by doing something that had nothing to do with me earlier in the day. I do have one request while I have the podium. I have a request that you all help me with this. One of the goals that I have in life is to have every person in the world use that turn signal on their car. The only person I can directly control is me, and I have decided it's not a good plan for me to get out of my car and go to the car that doesn't have their turn signal on, knock on the window and say something to them. It's really not in my best interest. So I do prayer on that, and I would like it for, and this is, I know that you all think that I'm being frivolous with this, but this is how we manifest in our lives. So we get together and we do things, and we know that it'll happen. We know that things will evolve. We know that things will occur. And so I would like for you to hold with me for the next week that whenever you get into your car, this is your prayer homework. Reverend Lori is speaking through me at this moment. So when you get into your car, that you ground yourself, that you again do a prayer, because you do anyway, all right? And so this time you do an active prayer where you know who you are, what you're doing, where you're going, that you're going to be safe and secure, that you're with the divine presence, whether you're with the loving God. You're a divine expression for anything and everything that you do. And knowing that as you start in your car, you know where your turn signal is, and that when you come up, because part of what I do also is I'm often doing prayer when I'm sitting in traffic behind other people, especially if it looks like people don't know exactly where they're going, and so my prayer for a lot of people is that they learn how to use their turn signal, because if we can do that, we can solve the rest of the world's problems easily. So, really. So I wanted to read, I do have a quote here from, I didn't just randomly pick out things, but anyway, Charles Fillmore says, prayer makes humankind masters in the realm of creative ideas. Creative ideas, much like having a gumbo meal at church. The inner silence of prayer is a great source of spiritual power. So again, I'm going to use that word again. Prayer is an investment. Prayer is a beingness. Prayer is an investment in you. You may not need it all the time and every moment in certain realities, but I will tell you that I needed it when I had to walk into an office saying, well, I don't have this piece of paper that I was supposed to bring, but I do have this one. And usually the right person was at the desk, and one person, called me honey and said, honey, I'll take care of that. And I thought, oh, thank you. And it would have been considered a bribe if I'd given her a gift. So I just said, I'll leave you on my prayer list. And so that's what I do. That's my world. So you all are on my prayer list. All right. So, but now back to the business of prayer. The process of affirmative prayer utilizes the power of the mind. So you're using your mind, and then when you align, you're using the divine mind. All right? And so true prayer requires much more than the repetition of memorized words. And many of us have come from other entities, other religions, where we had memorized prayers that only took us to a certain level. Prayer is an attitude of the heart that is more about being than doing. So I know that you all know this, but I'm just going to remind you of the 5 steps of affirmative prayer that Unity uses. And it's really simple. As Mike said, you get into the attitude that you are going to do prayer, okay? And then you acknowledge the oneness, the divine source, the beingness, all right? Then you allow that your intention to come forward, that your intention is The calmness is the oneness, is the I am. I am that I am. And then meditation is it's a conscious awareness. It's the one that allows us to be in the silence, to be in the knowing, and to be fully in inspiration as the total non-awareness. Everything leaves your consciousness and you're just in the awareness. And one can be in this breath, can be in this space for as long as it's needed, for as long as it takes. Sometimes we need to shed for a little while. And then we do recognition. We do a realization that as a result of the silence, that we know the truth, we have acceptance fully of this truth. We release all doubt, we release all fear. It is not part of our oneness. And we have the feeling of permanence of this divine presence, a feeling of permanence of divine presence. And then, of course, we know that we have gratitude and thankfulness for this divine presence and for this time and for the ability to shed anything that's not ours and to truly know the oneness. So thank you for accepting your homework assignment. And so just as a reminder, prayer is proof of faith. Prayer is proof that we align. Prayer is ours. It's a manifestation that comes to us in increments. Sometimes it manifests overnight. Sometimes it manifests in a year. Sometimes it's a phone call away. And we can do that. And part of the key to that is to expect that manifestation. All right, so my advice to you is to pray without ceasing. Have we heard this before? Pray without ceasing, for you truly are anyway. So do it consciously. And all thoughts, words, and deeds, every time you say, yes, I can, it's a prayer. Every time you say, that never works for me, it's a prayer. And so all of those little angelic beings that were lining up to make sure that all the traffic was out of the way when you went to visit your, that heavy traffic around I work near the stadium at MU. So guess how my prayers are? Dear God, please allow this traffic. All right. So Divine Mind is always with you. Divine Mind is always available. It is the change in our lives. It is the depth of our heart. It is a way to invest in ourselves. We allow it to be so, and so it is. And so with everything that we do, with everything that we are, the shorthand, if you want a shorthand prayer thing, when you know that you have to know it now, you have belief, you have desire, you have expectancy. You are one with all that is, and so it is.